Hello, this is Gerald Jovenwas. When time goes by, I hope I can explain letter coordinates better and better all the time. The letters are related to positions that have a certain foundation there in points in space, or they can be movable positions in a time frame, or they can move in all directions and you have to figure out how its behavior is. These are three sorts of coordinates that you can use, and the kind of positions that you can make that way within each of these three frames makes it so that we can figure out differences that are related with the definitions of letters. Why is it so? Because it's almost like a structure. You try to recognize things within space, within time, or within a time-space coordinating field. And let's build it up how we can imagine easily actually how travel is based upon separate letters, and we make the puzzle. The separate letters are coordinates which we associate at a certain place in a placement in space, or a movement in timing, or a behavior in a time-space continuum. And here are the letters already that you can show, that I can show you where they are having the coordinates. These coordinates are recognizable features, also how we hear them, how quickly we hear them. If we hear them in a point, they are one of the first category. If we hear them change over time, they are from the second category. And if we hear them of a general influence, they are from the last category. T's from the first category. I just show you the exact points of reference in 1, 2, or 3 points in the first category. Where the letter T is, it's just this point with its coordinates around that centered space where I say, okay, here I can find my focus. The letter, so I will have them build up separately, and later I will bring them together. Letter R are the coordinates with the continuations in the background of all possibilities in time and space, where I have a kind of movement which goes from somewhere to somewhere, so as if all the possibilities create a coordinated possibility that is an application that we're going to use in the letter R. The letter A is one of the foundations as points in space. It's that foundation, the horizontal coordinate actually as to orientate yourself upon. The letter V is again about time-space coordinates, so there is movement from space involved, so something from space is moved from one time-space coordinate to another time-space coordinate. In other words, it depends on which time and placement are correct for that movement. So with the conditions, there are time-space conditions which makes you move something. The E, here it is a coordination about timing. It goes from one timed idea to the next timed idea. I notice a change between two conditions actually, yes, from one timing to another timing, and I define actually what it needs to take you from one point to another. Letter L is from the first category. It's about space. You have that centered space in the middle, your main frame. and you see it into two options, two verticals, where you see, okay, there is a difference, and I notice this difference. These are the letters separately. Let's now combine them here with T with R combined. So I have them, the T, somewhere in the vertical in space, and I go towards it and I start from it. So I start from a point in space, a coordination in space. The A says, okay, that means also that I have a foundation in here, a foundation which follows, of course, the movement in the background, but in general is just a placement of a foundation, and I say, okay, I use this as a foundation to follow up. And what do? I move space. I move space from my foundation towards a different time-space coordinate. With A, it also says, yes, but I'm also going to compare it to two different moments. There are two different moments, and there is a difference between these two moments. And here is that difference from one place to another place, time, space, continuum. Will say, okay, but I'm moving up. And the L has a coordinate in space again, so it notices the differences of physicality in that space. What is moved, what do we have in the end as something that we can defer, something that we see as okay, but something happened as a difference that is noticeable in space. What is it? That's the conclusion in your travel. Actually, not much more is needed, and I hope I explained that well enough. Thanks again for watching. Bye.